and welcome to episode 5 of Give a Fuck, a podcast presented by Spark Consciousness. I am your host, Sarah Woodard. Among other things, I am a certified shamanic practitioner, Reiki master teacher, activist, educator, speaker, and award-winning children's author. I'm also a fierce defender of the underdog, which for me means wildlife, companion, and work/farmed animals, Mother Nature, and Gaia herself. I care deeply about my fellow human animals and believe that when we learn to live in harmony with nature, we also learn to live in harmony with ourselves and each other. I am fearless about doing my own inner work and growth, and am passionate about helping create a world where all beings are respected and honored. I have a deep connection to Gaia and feel particularly connected in the presence of the beautiful Colorado Front Range. When I'm not busy working to present information about living in harmony with Mother Nature, I share my time with 3 wonderful cats, enjoy bird watching, and experiencing all the outdoors has to offer. My life journey to this point has been filled with twists, turns, and changes, as has everyone's. For me, the constants from birth to now are a strong connection to Gaia, a deep-seated need to serve and help create a more compassionate and healthy world, and a love of both learning and sharing my knowledge. Those lifelong constants are what brought me to this point. All of the knowledge I've acquired in the process of learning to live my life in harmony, as well as new information I've come across, are the inspiration for and knowledge bombs presented in this podcast. Through connection to nature, I help young millennial women and others feeling lost expand their knowledge, feel connected to the world around them, and live with greater compassion. The purpose of this show is to present new information and or old information in a new way to help you see connections and live in harmony. Sometimes I also share other resources as I love to help you continue learning. As a quick reminder, Give a Fuck is spelled F***K. And the format of this show will always go like this. An introduction, a quick life update. I'm very excited to announce I'm adding a new segment starting this week where I will then answer your user-submitted questions if you are a Patreon member. So check that out. That will be, I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Then we'll do the Satan of the show, and then some quick wrap-up and housekeeping. So moving on to the life update for this week, I am absolutely thrilled to announce that my website is officially live! Woohoo! The link is sparkconsciousness.net, and I'll throw that in the show notes as well if you want to check it out. Huge shout out to Kellen McKenzie, the amazing, talented web designer who put that together for me. She's also my business coach, and she is terrific. I had some pretty interesting insights the past couple weeks. The first was actually about activism, and if you're familiar at all with my work as an author, you know that activism is really key to why I write what I write, the way I write it. And I was actually watching Felicity, for those who might be familiar with that show from the 90s. I had never seen it back in the 90s because I don't remember why. I think it was on around the same time I was in college and I didn't really have access to a TV or time for TV, but at any rate, whatever the reason. So I was watching it. It's on Amazon Prime right now, and I was watching it, and there's this episode where they stage a sit-in because the college that they go to had once offered Plan B and then took it away. And this was like, all the women on campus and some of the men too were like, hello. And so they staged a sit-in and they won. And I was like getting all emotional. I'm like, oh my God, with this expansion, this work that I'm now doing with, to help young millennials and other people feeling lost, like, and connecting to nature, did I lose that activism? Oh my God, that's so core to who I am. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's so core to who I am. Like, my spirit team would never have made me lose that. And so I sat and thought about it for a second, and I realized activism is still core to who I am. The difference here is, instead of using my activism and passion for topics to basically write books that hopefully make people think and change their minds, or at least think differently, I'm teaching people how to figure out their own things that they want to be activists about. And that is so cool, because ultimately, whether you agree with my position on stuff or not, whether you're interested in the same things I'm interested in or not, whether you're passionate about the same things I'm passionate about or not, when we all follow those things that we're passionate about and do our best to make the world a better place, which is what activism is, it's a beautiful thing. And that's what we're going to talk about in the Satan a little bit later. The other cool insight that I had the past couple weeks was actually about my own learning. Really, basically since college, I had been really focused on learning anything and everything possible that would forward my goals, basically, right? And I know that sounds selfish, but it was with the intention of, living my true purpose and helping make the world a better place and healing myself. And I always figuring out how I'm supposed to show up as a healer. And I mean, that's what led, and also to heal myself, right? So I did my Reiki training and my shaman training, and I, took this class and that class and da. And although they were all of interest to me, for sure, it wasn't like I took stuff that wasn't interesting. It was all of interest to me, but underneath that interest, there was also this like, oh, is this how I show up in this lifetime? Is this how I'm a healer? Is this how I make the world a better place? And it all collectively came into Spark Consciousness, and it was all necessary. But now that I'm actually living that purpose, I'm in this phase now where I'm taking classes just to take classes. I start ASL, American Sign Language, a little bit later this month. I took a little intro to astrology class just because I thought I've always been interested in it. I've always wanted to learn ASL. That's why I signed up for that. And it's a really cool shift to be in this place where I can just learn things for the sheer joy of it and not worry about whether I'm announcing it or not, without worrying about how it fits into my larger life plan. And it's such a great place to be because now I'm living my purpose and my soul knows that. So it's at ease about, yeah, just take that. That's cool. And I'm so excited to help other people get to this same place the same way that I did, which was through connection with nature. It's an incredible, incredible feeling. I think that might be it for the life update this week, but that was plenty, I think. Moving forward, right here, in this spot is where answers to your questions will go. Again, those are submitted via my Patreon peeps. So if you would like to submit a question or support the show for any reason, please check that out. Again, the link is the show notes. There's some pretty cool little bennies on there too, I think. Since we have no user questions for this week because it's a brand new segment, we'll move on to the Satan of the show. You're really going to like the topic for this week. I want to talk about how your life path is connected to the larger whole and why that matters. So we've talked in, previous episodes about vibrations and how nature is always listening. And we're also all always listening to nature, although we don't always realize it, right? And that's what those vibes are when you get vibes from something, right? So we've talked about that. We're going to expand on that with this. So clearly, if you're feeling the vibes and nature's feeling our vibes, and it goes back and forth like that, there is also, because we are all connected in this web of life, right? Like that term web of life, I didn't invent it. That was invented a long time ago because lots of people felt that same sense of everything is connected, right? So when you raise your vibration, it raises the vibration of everything else in the web, right? When your vibration is lower, it lowers the vibration of everything else in the web. And you can see that in your own life, in case you just don't want to take my word for it. You can see that in your own life. When you're having a great day and you smile at people and you're like, hey, how's it going? La, la, la. They respond to you. Oh, I'm great. Even if they're not, right? They respond to you in a similarly upbeat manner. When you're having it, or vice versa, right? When somebody else is having a great day and they come up to you and they're like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. If you're having a shit day, you probably start to feel a little bit better when they smile at you and they do that, right? the same is true in reverse. If you're having a shit day and you go up to somebody and you just take your shit day out and blast it all over them, they're now having a shit day. And you can see it. If you're in front of them in person, you can see their demeanor change from upbeat to downbeat, or downbeat to upbeat, right? You can see their demeanor change, and you can feel it in yourself. When somebody comes at you and blasts their shit day all over you, you can feel your whole self go, ugh. Even if you were having a good day up to that point, you can feel yourself go, ugh, and you have to try to shake it off to get back to your good day. And sometimes we can't, right? So we can expand that out to the whole web. And this is why it's so important to find your true purpose, because when we're all living our true purpose, our vibration naturally is higher, right? Like some days it can feel really hard to get your vibration up there. If things aren't going well and your boss is mad at you, your dogs and cats are driving you crazy, your neighbor's in your face again, whatever's going on, right? It can be hard to raise your vibration up. Even if you know all of this stuff and you want to, it can be really, really hard unless you're in this place where your soul is happy and your soul is content with what you're doing in this lifetime. And it's not that bad shit doesn't happen at that point. It does. That's part of being a human, is bad crap happens and we just have to deal with it. But it's easier to deal with when your soul is happy and content. That's why so many people are like, oh, I wish I knew what my purpose was. I knew what I was supposed to do. It's because they're seeking to fill that happiness void in their soul, and then the rest of their lives look better. I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can only tell you how to figure it out. But I can tell you that once you figure it out, this amazing shift starts to happen where you feel content, you feel joyful, and that spreads to the rest of the web. Just like when you come across somebody and you're like, oh, I'm having a bad day, and it brings them down, or oh, hey, la, 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 and it brings them up, and vice versa, like we just talked about, right? When you get to that place where you're living your purpose and your soul is happy, even when you're having a bad day, you approach it differently, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say like you're me and you're living your soul purpose, but something really shitty happens, like your computer dies. Now, before living my soul purpose, my computer dying would have been abject disaster. I would have been apoplectic, inconsolable, would have been rude to every single person I met. Not because I'm a rude person, but because I was so upset. It just would come off me without me even meaning to. And I would feel terrible being so rude, but it would just kind of just come out because I just had nothing good to hang on to, right? And it's a disaster, and there wasn't anything good to hold on to. Now, living my soul purpose, computer dies. And this literally did happen. And it was still not great. I mean, it was still a pretty big deal, right? Like, I need my computer to do my job. It was still a huge deal. I was still pretty stressed out. I was still pretty freaked out. I was still pretty pissed off at the universe about it. But instead, when I went into Best Buy to buy a replacement, I found this place of gratitude that, A, I had the money to be able to just go out and buy a replacement, because I recognize not everyone would be able to just do that. And there was a time when I couldn't, not that long ago. And B, every single person that tried to help me, I was super grateful for them. And I was able to have very pleasant interactions with them, to the point where somebody who worked in the appliances section and only just pointed me to the computer section made a point of walking up to me before I left the store and saying that I had a wonderful smile, which who doesn't love to hear that, right? Inside, I'm still going, motherfucker, my stupid computer, oh my God. But it didn't matter because it mattered, but it didn't matter the same way because I'm living my purpose and my soul was happy. So this big sort of life disaster that was outside my control, it was annoying. I didn't love it. Nobody's going to love that. But instead of it being just this thing that impacted everyone else's day around me and everything else on the web around me, I kept it to me, right? And what went out into the web was good stuff, good vibes, good juju, and everybody around me still felt good. I was able to still be a blessing in the world, rather than this person that everybody was like, whoa, I wish she hadn't come in the store first thing this morning. What was that? Right? I was able to bring joy and happiness because my vibe was good, because my soul was happy. So it really, really matters whether or not you live your purpose. And Don't feel bad if it takes a long time, okay, to figure out what your purpose is. I am 43 years old, and I just figured it out. It's okay. Some people don't figure it out till they're in their 60s. It doesn't matter when you figure it out. It just matters that you try to, and you keep working towards trying to figure it out. And once you finally do, you'll know. There's this, it's not a click. It's more subtle than a click, but there's this subtle little shift that happens inside you to make you go, oh, I'm good now. I'm happy now. Yeah. And you may not even recognize it right away, but you'll start to notice yourself interacting differently. And that's a clue. You'll start to notice yourself feeling differently about big disaster things like dying computers or whatever. That's a clue, right? Give it a shot. If you would like to use my method, it is all about connecting with nature, but don't feel you have to. Find the way that works for you. That about wraps it up. So we're going to move on to housekeeping now. You can find me on social media. I am on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and LinkedIn. With the exception of LinkedIn, my username on all of those is Spark Consciousness. You can also find me on my brand new beautiful website, which I know I've announced a million times, but I'm so excited about. Yay! I definitely encourage you to take a look at all of that. I would love for you to check out my Patreon and sign up if that appeals to you. I am also now offering episode sponsors. You can find information about that on my website as well, or just shoot me a message if you want more info. Also, if your podcast app allows you to do so, I would love a review. That is the best way to help any of us creators, is to leave reviews and share what we do with the people that you think will appreciate it. What's coming next is the online course going live. I have seen some of the videos from the videographers, and they are amazing. Yes, I know it's me saying it, and it's my videos, and I'm biased, but I do think you'll agree that they are amazing. You'll actually see a sample of that on the website as well, of their work. That's the next big thing that's coming, is that comes out March 7th, so stick around for that. I think that is all that is in the works right at the moment. I am planning some outdoor adventures. I've actually arrived at a point where there are so many awesome outdoor adventures to go on, I kind of don't even know what to pick. So we will just have to see where that takes me. We'll figure it out. Otherwise, I think that's about it. I will see you in 2 weeks. In the meantime, continue to expand your knowledge, feel the connections, and live with compassion.